Hello, Greg from Balloon Market here, and welcome to BMTV. And as you can see, we have a brand new guest. It is Paula Ardron-Gemmell. And I said it right, didn't I?
You did?
I did.
Very impressed.
Now, Paula, today you've got your Grabo t-shirt on. So you are Grabo, but you also have your own business.
Yes.
And you are a NABAS committee member. Yeah. So let's find out a little bit more about you before we go into what we're going to talk about today. Yeah. So tell me your story, very briefly.
Very briefly. Nearly 15 years ago, myself and my best friend decided we were going to start a party shop. We went to the autumn fair, saw the NABAS stand there, and saw they did training and saw all the beautiful balloons from all the manufacturers, and decided that was what we wanted to have a go at. So we left there and we joined NABAS, we booked on a course, and we bought a shop.
Yeah.
And started from there, really.
That's amazing, just buying a shop.
Yeah.
Let's not mess about. Let's
Throw
just go
yourself
and buy a shop.
Give yourself a commitment if you're going to do it. Make sure that you're focused on making a business out of it rather than...
And so you've still got your shop, you're still running the shop, it's all good, but you also do other things as well. So I mentioned NABAS there. Yeah, 5 years ago, I got the opportunity to be an instructor for NABAS. So we've been going around doing teaching and passing on what we've learned and what we've done over the time through the years. Okay. And yeah, I'm on the committee. So for my sins, I organise events and try and help the industry and pay it back, really. Yeah. It's all about paying it back to the industry that's been really kind to us and has given us a living for 15 years. So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Fantastic. And most recently, you have become Grabo.
Grabo, yeah. The UK,
you say Grabo.
Grabo.
I say Grabo.
It's fine. I
Grabo,
don't get offended.
you're from the north. You should be saying Grabo.
No, it's because they always say Grabo, so it just stays in my head.
I'm going to say Grabo, sorry.
Yeah, so that was November 2019. Okay. A lot of the wholesalers got the chance to put forward people they thought might be a good ambassador for them, and I got put forward and was interviewed and got the role. So within that, I just do what I love. So it's a really easy job because I've used Grabo balloons for years. I love them. They've been in the UK since 2017, and I think they're amazing. So to be able to go around and tell other people how amazing they are and why I use them over other ones, it's relatively straightforward for me to do. So
you're an ambassador for Grabo over here.
Yeah, I'm not an employee. I just simply I set up the Grabo Decorator UK Facebook group after the Spring Fair 2020, just before we went into lockdown. Yeah. And that was more of a connection to make sure that decorators, retailers, wholesalers and suppliers can come together in the UK and we can feed things back to the team in Italy and actually get results, because they're a family-run factory and as a company, they really care about what we want as actual the end users. Yeah, yeah. So I want to be that connection.
Yeah, well, we love Grabo, and we went to visit, and I was very, very impressed at the whole family thing. So yeah, that was great. Now it's a bit of a showcase today. Yep. You've got a backwards 3.
As ever.
As always, when you're healing and fill these.
Never work with children and animals.
So you're gonna tell us a little bit about it's May 2022, so these are all relatively new products to the range. Tell us a little bit about them. Yeah,
so these are what they launched at the Spring Fair 2022, and it's just following with that whole naturals and neutrals theme at the moment. Everything is really big. We're kind of moving away from kind of like the purples that we've had in the past, and even the rose golds that we're kind of stepping back from, and it's all really soft muted colours, and I say your eucalyptuses, your olives, your creams. So we've got here a whole range of foils in them. Yep. So we have the creams, the nudes, the olives, the chocolates and the caramel. Okay. And they come in hearts and star and rounds, and then we've got the 2 new numbers in the cream and the nude, which are just so pretty.
I got the 2 the wrong way around.
You have.
Sorry.
But just so pretty. And the joy about these, certainly in the numbers, is these are the 40-inch ones. Yeah. So you've got a heck of a lot of liftability in there. You can really decorate them up. You can personalise them. You can really just add extra value to them to really help your profits. So yeah, love them. Absolutely love them.
And these ones?
These ones have been around a while. But these ones are a balloon that I just think are so much prettier than they are in the packets.
You've got issues with packets,
I have got issues with lots of different manufacturers.
Jonathan, I'm really sorry, but there's some issues with your packets. You need to sort them according to Paula. So, but I have to say, they do look far more spectacular and very reflective. Hello.
So you can check your makeup in them, and taking photographs is a bit of a nightmare.
But it must be really hard to get that kind of effect on packaging.
But this is one of the reasons, I say, with the Grabo Decorator UK group, that I wanted to do little videos and have little photographs of the balloons inflated so people can see them, because I think that's so important when you're wanting to do it for business, to actually know what they look like when they're inflated. With these, this just showcased obviously the two sizes of our globes that we've got at Grabo. 15-inch globe.
Yep.
Takes about 1.13 cubic feet of helium. Lots of lovely liftability, so you can decorate as you like.
Oh yeah.
It snaps up nicely. Our little baby one that we've got there is an 11-inch. Now
I was really surprised when you inflated this that it was
actually
floating.
Floated?
Yeah. That's great.
They come in all the different colours as well. Obviously, we've got them in the rainbow here, but they've got all the different colours. But half a cubic foot of helium, so the same as like an 18-inch foil. And they last happily for quite a few weeks.
Yeah.
We tell customers just a week and manage their expectations, but yeah, they're beautiful.
Yeah, still got a bit of pull on it.
Yeah,
isn't it?
You can still vinyl it, you can still glitterite, you can still add little bits to them.
Excellent. Anyway, if you do want to find out more about Grabo products, you can go to balloonmarket.co.uk and you go to, I don't know where you'd go, manufacturer Grabo probably. That's probably the best way to see everything. But go and have a look at the full range. But anyway, there's more.
There is more.
So what have we got here?
So these are the other ones that we launched at the Spring Fair in February. And these are the coloured globes. So with these, they're a transparent globe. So they're not a solid colour like this, but they are a very similar float time and liftability of them. Okay. So we've got them in the pink and the purple and the green and the blue and the orange and the yellow, and they are just so, so pretty. The one of these balloons that obviously when you've got them like that, you see a big double thickness colour. When we actually open them and inflate them, they obviously become an awful lot softer, and depending on what balloons you put inside them or how you dress them up, again, completely changes the colour of them. Okay. So we're going to be having a little show of that.
All right, yeah, we sell them, but I honestly, genuinely know nothing about them. Good. So you can educate me.
Hopefully.
The rule is you're not allowed to ask me to do anything though, because I'm known to be very incompetent at anything balloon related. Okay. So I can't tie knots or anything like that. Okay. I'll hold stuff. If you want me to hold anything, I'll hold
we'll be all right. We'll be okay.
Okay, all right. What are we going to start with?
Yeah, the other one that I'm going to do is going to start with is this big beast.
Okay.
So obviously it's a clear balloon. So this is the 19-inch transparent globe. Now, one of the main things that we get asked for with these balloons is about the sizing, because obviously we call them a 15-inch and a 19-inch. Yeah. And people are very, very mindset from obviously Qualitex with their sizing of the clear bubble balloons, where you're talking your 20 and your 24 inches. The sizes that we've got on here are actual inflated seam-to-seam sizes. Okay. So they are the equivalent of those. So the 19-inch will inflate to 19-inch, just like a 24-inch deco, but it's completely rounded. Since it's got the four seams, we've got that completely spherical balloon. Yeah, yeah. So you have more liftability. It does take slightly more helium. One of these takes 2.23 cubic feet of helium.
It's good that you know all these numbers.
Oh.
You're very good with your cubic. What did you say? Cubic meters?
Cubic feet.
Cubic feet. Okay.
Yeah.
Still old school.
So yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I'm of that age where I still deal in feet and inches.
I understand.
So these are about 2.23 cubic feet of helium. So in terms of monetary, you're only talking kind of like about 70p extra helium in there. Yeah. But for that, you get a longer float time. You get a very, very high perceived value because they are huge. Yeah. And I say the liftability is 65 grams in them, so you can really have a lot of things hanging down from them at 65 grams, and you can put a lot of stuff inside them. So with this, we're just going to put some feathers in. Okay. Now you'll notice this one looks slightly different than that, and that's because that one has got its seams sealed. This is another thing that we've been chatting with the team in Italy about, is to try and get their seams opened so that when you actually get them, they come like that, because it's a lot easier to inflate. Yeah, yeah. If we inflate that straight off, what will happen is it'll bang like you've got a gunshot going on. Yeah, and no matter how much you're prepared, it is very nervous. Yeah. So all we've done here is we've just simply opened up the seams by snipping off the little end. You can see we've got the end there. Yeah. And even when I've cut off the end, it's still a really nice long neck.
So is there the valve in there?
There's no valve. Both of them are completely unvalved. You have a little inflation hole there that you could use to inflate everything. Okay. But since we're going to put feathers in, I'm just going to get rid of that because I want to make it a bigger place to stick the feathers in. Right. So all I've done is chop that off and then just opened up the seams. Okay. So I've got the empty balloon. Now say, there's loads of different ways to put feathers in balloons. Again, I'm just very old school. Give me a funnel and I'm happy. Funnel and a balloon stick. Now you're going to hate this because there'll be feathers absolutely everywhere.
Yeah. At least it's not like that gold foil. I do like that. I think the effect of it is lovely.
But it does go absolutely everywhere.
And don't get me started on glitter.
Yeah, you don't want cake luster or anything around in here then. That really will upset you.
You've done that really efficiently, really well. You've done that before, haven't you?
I have, but you know full well I am going to jam them in the neck now and not be able to do anything since you've just said that to me. You just cursed the commentated me.
Sorry.
Now these bags of feathers, I presume you sell.
We do.
Yeah, they come in kind of like 50 gram bags. Now with this having a 65 gram liftability, in theory you could put an entire bag in it. In practice we don't bother. It's just, it still looks lovely.
Yeah.
With kind of like a third of a bag, a quarter of a bag in there. And I think people are quite used to not having massively full balloons with them.
Yeah.
Because obviously we've not had the liftability in the other bubble balloons that are out there.
So do you feel there's going to be, because obviously the last couple of years with COVID and stuff, and stock shortages and all the rest of it, the feathers inside balloons craze has died down a little bit. Is that going to come back, do you think?
In our shops, certainly now people are back buying and doing things. We're getting an awful lot more demands for them.
Excellent.
The only thing with feathers that bug me slightly is you do get quite often a little bit of dust from the feathers.
Yeah.
So no matter how clear the balloon is to start off with, you still get dust.
Yeah, yeah.
But they're a very, very soft effect.
All right.
Okay. Now, sealing these balloons, we've done 4 different videos of how to seal. I'm never going to dictate to somebody how to do it because I find with an awful lot of these things, you all find your own way that works best for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you can seal it like a traditional bubble with a 260 wrapped around it. If that works for you, that's absolutely fine. The other thing you can do is you can open up that neck.
Yeah.
Because obviously once we've cut that up and opened it up, you've got a really big area to put things in. So you can flatten that out and you can heat seal.
Okay.
And that would work.
Yeah.
Obviously the most tricky version, because this will be a really inflated balloon and wanting to push the gas out. Yeah. So you've got to be really tight and very dedicated when you heat seal. The other thing you can do, if you haven't snipped off the end, is you can actually stretchy tape it on that little inflation point. So that little hole. Stretchy tape over that entire hole, seals perfectly. But my preferred method is just using a little 5-inch latex.
All right.
And we use this just like a bung. So if I just take a little trigger valve, which is tangled, as ever.
They always get tangled.
They always get tangled.
No matter what you do, they end up tangled.
And I'm just going to whiz the balloon on the end, pop it in, and just make a little bubble.
Okay.
I'm not going to tie that off, I've just wrapped that around my finger.
Okay.
And I'm just going to inflate the balloon. It does make a bit of a noise.
Okay.
But it does also mean that you don't get the feathers flying around in the mass vortex and risking them popping it.
That just looks really cool though. I love watching that, but it is risky.
But then you end up recording feathers.
I know, but it looks cool.
I'm not going to do it for you.
Okay. Oh yeah, you are.
No, that's not. That's only a little bit. I'm just going to deflate this little bubble just a little bit. And then carry on. And just like other bubbles, I want to get these seams completely smooth. Now trigger valves are great at this because they're really controllable on speed.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to blast it and scare us.
Scares me.
I did actually pop one of these the other day. It's the first time ever out of all of the ones that we've done.
I still get scared.
So, when your feathers go on top of that, cool. Your little balloon is hidden. But the joy about it is just like when you're doing a double bubble.
Yeah.
There's nothing escaping out of that balloon because that's actually bunging the neck.
That's really clever.
So for me, in my little very non-scientific way, if I've got a really stretchy latex coming through that plastic balloon, and then plastic, and then I'm going to wrap and tie this around the plastic, I'm kind of putting lots of stretchy latex, so it's going to keep it nice and tight. So I'm just going to twist that round, pull that neck, and then that neck just gets wrapped around the outside bubble balloon.
And just tie it up.
And I'm just going to tie it as I would do a normal latex. And pull tight.
That's brilliant. I love that technique.
And I say that is then just hidden
Yeah.
by the feathers.
That is so cool. And you use whatever 5-inch balloon relates to the colour.
Yeah. So if I'm doing lots of little balloons, obviously the last balloon will be the one that ties it. If I'm doing confetti, that balloon will be deflated to a really tiny little, looks like a little bit of confetti in the bottom of it.
Yeah.
Still seal it, but
that's amazing. Love that.
So that's my preferred method, but
I think that should become an industry standard. I love it.
Whichever method people like.
And we saw it here first, everybody. Well, probably not here first, but...
Live to the nation. I say that there are little videos when I go on about them, but obviously not quite in salubrious places being here. It is just, for me, straightforward little cinch knots over there to go onto the balloon. And then I just like to double tie things just to make sure nothing is going to come off, because obviously these balloons are plastic. They really shouldn't ever be released. No matter how pretty they are, just need popping when you're not using them.
I've got a question for you, talking about releases. You know when people come into your shop and ask for a balloon for somebody's died and they're going to a funeral, what do you do?
We actively tell them about the environmental impact. They're not illegal at the moment, which is such a shame. NABAS did try and get them balloon releases banned a few years ago, but they're not illegal, so it does kind of take away our voice as a shop to have that backing to say, I'm really sorry, it's illegal to do it. Because what quite often happens is if they come to us and we say no, they then go down to another shop, like a brand chain or supermarket who don't care, and they sell them.
Don't even ask the question,
Absolutely. So we do still in our shop, which is very unpopular, sell the odd latex balloon, no ribbons, nothing like that, just hand tied, but we will only sell 5. And we will write messages on them in a water-soluble pen if they want that sort of thing to do. But ideally, in my little heart of hearts and the way we do it at the shop, I'd rather do that than risk them going to another shop and releasing foils. So if I can get them to release the odd little latex that I know will go up into the air 5 miles, it'll expand, it'll cool down, it'll change pressure, it'll shatter. I can kind of cope a little bit happy. It's not ideal.
It's not.
But I'd much rather sell them one latex balloon than them go and buy a foil from somewhere else. So it is a really emotive thing, and I'd love for it to actually be completely...
It's only in that situation that I think it's more difficult. I think if somebody just says, I'm doing a big balloon release, it's easy to say no.
Very easy.
But when it's something that is so emotive, like you say, there's no right answer. I mean, we didn't have, thankfully, individuals coming in that have just lost somebody to deal with that. But years ago, we just made the choice that we weren't going to sell. We had people shouting at us and screaming at us. They're going to do a balloon release. I'm really sorry. You know, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Some people were threatening to sue us for not selling to them and all of that.
We've had emails from that one guy. Apparently his wife was distraught and he's contacted the council, and what we said was a lie, and we could have released balloons, and how dare we upset her. And it is a very emotive thing, but we have our codes of conduct all over the shop. We have it on our Facebook for Pink Tree. We really try and show that we're not doing it to be nasty.
But you educate them.
We're doing it because we're trying to show them why we don't do it. The majority of, say, latex balloons aren't harmful. It's the ribbons that they're released with and the foils that don't biodegrade. But they're all going to get damned with the same brush, unfortunately. Absolutely. So it's one of those things that the more we can try and teach people different ways of doing things, the better.
Just simple things like selling balloons with weights on.
Selling balloons with weights on, and just letting them know that these really can't be released.
Okay, so that's very lovely.
Okay, I shall just whiz this onto here. Oh, excuse me, showing my back to you.
That is big, isn't it?
It's huge.
Whoa!
Whoa! Bigger than the weight that we've got under there. Just goes to show how much liftability is in that little baby.
We need to put something on there.
We need a bigger weight.
Need a bigger weight.
Oh my word.
Hold on, bear with me.
It's quite a nice effect, it just floating, to be fair.
It was nice.
Oh my word, you're going to give me one of those horrible tassely things.
Yeah. It'll work.
It'll work.
Nobody can see it. Nobody can see it.
Don't film it. Right, it's now tilting, but that's fine.
That's
okay,
fine.
that's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Is that all right? Alex says yes.
So yeah, I mean, obviously it's difficult to see against the white background, but they are massive. Yeah. They are beautiful.
Yeah.
And I say such liftability as demonstrated.
Lovely.
So you
and
can
spherical.
actually, and you can part air fill them if you don't need that liftability. So you can save that little bit of very valuable balloon gas at the moment.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So add a little bit of air and do a bit of a mix in there if you don't need that liftability.
Okay, you're going to show us one of the coloured ones now?
Yeah.
Are we done with feathers?
We're done with feathers. You can get rid of feathers.
So I'm going to tidy it up.
So
what are we going to do?
So this one, very similar to the one that we've just done. Just do a little gumball. So obviously the method that we've just used to tie on there, we're just going to use the last balloon to seal.
I think that's my new favourite technique. Yeah.
Cool. I'm delighted. I say that's what I've always done. We used to have fails when we used to do the 260 wraps.
Yeah.
And we used to kill things, and nothing leaves our shop unless I'm happy that it's going to be okay, because my customers are really important and I want them to make sure that they're confident. Yeah. So it has always been one of those things that when we did get the odd fail with it, that didn't work for me.
Yeah.
And we've done double bubbles for years, so I thought, you know what, let's just try. So yeah, very easy way to do. So on this one I've opened the seams, taken the little neck out again, and we're just going to put little tiny balloons inside. Now, gumballs, I'd say, are really, really popular for men. Not wanting to be sexist.
Hello.
Yeah, we get an awful lot of these gumball effect balloons going out for boys.
Why is that?
Because they're ordered by women, and women love the clear bubble balloons.
Okay.
But obviously they don't want to give their partner a balloon with feather or pretty confetti in it.
Okay.
So they want something that's maybe slightly more...
So balloons are masculine.
Masculine, maybe. So yeah, so the little balloons tend to work really, really well.
Did you ever use something with the 3-foot balloon, the insider tool? Did you ever use that?
A long time ago.
We used those many times back in the early days. And it was a great little thing that's kind of clipped on the table.
Yeah.
And you had to air inflate the 3-foot balloon, but you needed to, it wasn't like these, because latex, you were trying to get latex inside a latex.
Yep.
So it just contracts.
Every time.
Really, really hard. So you had to basically try and keep this balloon inflated while doing exactly what you're doing now.
Which is why gumballs in the bubble balloons, like the globe, are so much easier.
Yeah.
Because you have got that area that you can inflate into, and it doesn't want to snap itself up. So you've got time, you can play about, you can properly tie the balloons, so you can cut a lot of the neck off.
Yeah.
2 reasons why I always chop the necks off. I do notice that some people leave them on, but for me it's a slight reduction in weight, because although we don't think there's an awful lot of weight in that, you do still have a little bit of excess weight, so that's going to help your liftability. And also, I just don't think they look very pretty.
They don't.
I think it looks a lot nicer when they're chopped off.
Yeah.
You'll notice that I'm helium filling all of these. There's an awful lot of debate on groups, and there has been ever since the balloons came out, as to whether you air or helium fill. And it all comes down to the science of the balloons and the gases.
Absolutely, yeah.
Your helium molecules are so tiny, they will escape through the latex. So if you air fill the little balloons inside, and you make them nice and tight, and you tie them off really, really tight, like I always pull them as much as I can. So you've got very tight balloons filled with air. The helium's going to go inside them. It's going to leach inside that balloon, and that balloon is just going to pop because the air can't escape. Whereas if you helium fill both, you get that nice little stable unit where the helium goes in, the helium comes out, and it does what it needs to.
I love seeing that. When we're doing fundamentals courses down here, and actually just show an air-filled one inside a helium, and you just leave it and just watch it. And at some point in the next hour or two, it just pops. It's really clever.
Yeah. And I say, if you don't inflate your balloons fully, you don't tighten them, then it takes longer. Yeah, so some people go, it never happens to me. And it's like, well, it probably won't. It'll probably be when your customers got it in another day. But it also helps with, again, your liftability. If you're replacing these balloons with air rather than helium, it's not going to float as long because you've not got as much helium in it. And when you've job costed it, you've costed it with full helium anyway. So let's do it. So
Indeed.
for me, we tend to put 9 balloons inside a 15-inch. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in there at the moment. In the big 19-inch ones, I tend to put 15, but you can put more. You've seen how much liftability that baby's taken just with the weight that we've got under it.
Yeah.
But I just think it's just a nice number, really. So my very last one, I get one which has got a dodgy end on it, as typical. Just like I did with the other one, I'm just going to inflate.
So you've obviously, sorry, you were going to say something.
It's all right.
I was just going to ask you a nosy question.
That's fine.
So you've been doing this for quite a while now, 15 years. Have you got a favourite design that you like doing in the shop?
Favourite designs? Nice. It depends which hat I've got on. If I've got my pink tree hat on, that's a different design. If I've got my Grabo hat on.
Okay.
Using the bubble, it incorporates both. Using these types of balloons, my lovely Grabo transparent globes, with feathers inside them. So you've got that long-lasting ability, because these 15-inch ones, they're going to be absolutely fine for a good 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Your seams do start creasing like any other bubble, but you've got a lot of float time there. Vinyl personalised, so again, really nice and personal, but then coming off a little tiny aqua balloon, feather aqua balloon base, because I'd love air-filled aqua balloons.
Yeah, yeah.
And those, it just echoes them both, because you've both got the nice clear balloons with feathers, but the little bases are just really, really pretty.
Oh, interesting.
So it is kind of like not fully Grabo, but I do love my aquas as well. But bubbles have always been my favourite. They've always been my passion. I've killed so many over the time, trying to see exactly what I can do with them and making sure that I'm happy with them.
Yeah. Cool.
So again, with that, last balloon, just sealing it, wrapping around, and then tying. So
you don't need to make that one smaller, because it's the same size as the balloons that are already in there.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say earlier. It doesn't really matter what size of balloons you've got inside. So I've got a mix of a little bit smaller and bigger, because it just makes it a bit more interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
But obviously you're taking up the colour of the outer balloon as well with them, and they are just beautiful and
that's clearer than
round.
I thought it was going to be, actually. So you're right about when you see it like this, it seems quite blue.
Yeah.
But then you see it like that, and it's
because it's opened itself
far more
out.
subtle.
And I say the clarity of these, you don't have anything with any powder issues. The team in Italy have been working really closely to get the clarity as clear as it is, and it's been improving along the time. So if anyone's used it in the past and had the odd bit of issue with clarity, chances are that's one of the earlier batches that have now been developed. But I say the team in Italy are great because they listen to us. So on here we've got all our little warning labels, but they're all printed white now.
Yeah.
On some of the earlier ones, they're in black.
Okay.
Stuck out like a sore thumb if you're doing something pretty and you had black writing.
I didn't even notice.
They've changed it to white now.
Yeah.
So they listen, and that's what I do love about the family-run business of it. The fact that everything that I hear from retailers, from decorators and from wholesalers, we can feed back and they can actually do something about it. There are still a couple of outstanding issues that we are working on them with, but I have every faith that they'll do it for me.
I was fascinated when we went over there. Absolutely amazing to see, because I didn't know how a foil, it was mainly the foil balloon production we were looking at. I've no idea. I had an idea of how foils were produced, but I'd never seen it. And to actually see it in the flesh, it was amazing. It really is interesting. And it's an interesting culture over there, like you say, very family oriented. Yeah,
really which is what I think is really important. The fact that it is that whole family business. Yeah. And they're very into sustainability and kind of being as eco as they possibly can, even though obviously they're a foil manufacturer. Yeah. Everything seems to be very much incorporating the sun and solar power and really trying to make sure that people don't release the balloons. They understand what they're doing with them.
Do you always
and they
just
don't release.
Do a little tight one at the end like that?
I do.
Never seen that. Why do you do that?
Just because it's our little signature. It's our little pink tree party's signature.
Everybody's going to be doing it now.
I do it without even thinking. When I do training, I try and encourage everyone just to do something that's theirs.
Yeah.
But for me, if we leave it loose, it's almost like you've not finished. You've just left it.
Yeah.
Where if I just do that, it's like I've deliberately left it at that. That's my full stop. I'm happy. That's done now. So that's just what we do.
You're just making a little cluster now. I'm guessing to go up
there. So we've just got 2 balloons in a very tight little duplet.
Yeah.
Third one just going in, going over the knots, wrapping around itself, and then just tying. to make a little tight 3 balloon cluster. Again, snip off the necks because it's going to be floating. And whenever I'm doing anything like that, I do tend to prop. There's no pressure on that. I'm not going to scare that balloon, do anything to it. I am just simply resting it so that my hands are free.
Cool.
And finish it off. So you can see even with that, obviously, the little 15-inch one, you've still got plenty of liftability. You can still vinyl personalise it. You can do what you like to them.
I like that. Simple, but effective.
But the colours are just really pretty with them.
Yeah, yeah. Is that it?
I can do one more if you want. Depends on timing.
No, let's do one more.
Okay.
You're supposed to say no, Greg. That's not it. We've got something else.
In fact, I was going to put a little happy birthday thing on the bottom, but that's fine. We can just leave it as is for that one.
All right, let's get rid of that. We've got.
So last one.
That's quite nice.
It's a little bit yellow. If I'd got a bit more yellow in there, it'd have been okay. So I'm going to get rid of more of my mess because I do make a heck of a lot of mess.
It's good that you're tidying up after you.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you.
So my last one, I'm not got gold and silver leaf. You'll be delighted to hear.
Yay.
Because I know you love it.
No, I do love it. I think it looks lovely, but it's just a bit messy, isn't it?
It's that whole thing that you'll appreciate as well as I do. Things that come back in a little mist of time. So obviously your gold flakes and gold leaf are big at the moment, massive because of Instagram and Pinterest.
Yeah.
And when I started doing it, it's like, I'm sure I've got a jar somewhere from like 14 years ago in the cupboard at the back of the shop.
I had no idea. When you said that earlier, I had no idea that happened 14 years ago. There's no such thing as an original idea, is there? So
there's just rejigs on everything that we do.
Yeah.
But that's the joy of it because, say, if I probably look back at things now that I've done right at the start, they'll come back in.
Yeah.
Whether things like Cloud 9s will ever come back in, I'm not too sure. That was like 14 years ago last time I did one of those, but you never know.
Will flares come back in? They probably are back
They already
in now.
have.
I have no idea.
Have you not seen Tom Grennan?
Not seen what?
Tom Grennan.
Who's he?
A musician.
No, then.
He wears lots of flares.
Does he?
Yes, he's only a young boy. He wears lots of flares.
I'm clearly behind the times.
So with this one, I'm just going to do a double stuff just to show a balloon in a balloon.
Okay.
Which obviously is done massively at the moment to get those really glossy bubble balloons.
Yeah.
But obviously with these, we've got a whole new colour palette opened up. So a cream inside one of these will look completely different to a purple inside one of these or a silver. So depending on what colour balloon you put in, will then give you whatever colour you want out the other side. So certainly when we're dealing with the nudes and the creams, if we put something inside one of the orange ones, like say a latte or a cream or one of those really soft creamy colours, it makes the whole thing just look like the nude shade of the latex. Really? So although it doesn't look like it's orange, it really doesn't look orange.
That's interesting.
So if you want in a eucalyptus one, you can put an olive or a eucalyptus inside the green and you get a globe that's that.
So many combinations there.
So many combinations.
Just with those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colours.
Yep, and the joy of it is, I say, if you do it with them, then it means that you can vinyl print.
Yeah.
And the balloon's going to last for ages.
Long time, yeah.
So it's a lot better than just obviously using the latex. You're not worrying about it.
Yeah.
So with these, the one thing I will say is obviously when you're doing little balloons like that or with feathers, you can just simply blast helium into it and make the seams pop. That's absolutely fine. They'll be really noisy, but they won't actually damage.
First, yeah.
If I try to put a balloon in here without opening up these seams, the balloon will expand and it hasn't got enough pressure to actually open these seams for it because it's in the middle trying to expand.
Yeah.
So it will just tear.
Okay.
So the entire seams will just tear and you can't use them. It just rips the balloon. So all I'm doing is I've just obviously opened it up at the neck and I'm just opening the seam manually.
Could you inflate it and deflate it?
You can do. It is one of those things, if you're going to do that, do it with air.
Yeah.
Don't waste your helium.
Absolutely, yeah.
With these, if we're putting gold leaf or any of that kind of thing in there first, you do want a little bit of air just so that you can scatter it around nicely. But you don't really, with these, want very much excess gas inside it. Because if you've got air or helium in there, you're going to get a ghost like an image where the latex isn't going to cling to the sides. So the least air you can put in, the better.
Yeah, okay.
Which is why when I do it for these, it's just usually easier just to open up the seams. And I say I'm praying that the boys, by the time people are watching this, that the boys will have listened to me and done it. They're young enough to be my children. But I am really hoping the team in Italy will actually just make them like that, so it's very, very easy to do, because it just saves that little bit of time. My little balloon stick that you've tied it away nicely. I'm just going to stick on the end.
Yeah.
This is just an 18-inch reflex silver. And obviously Grabo don't make any latex. Grabo are purely foil manufacturers.
Yeah.
So it does mean that we can play about with different brands. So I put it in, a little bit of air's gone in there, so I'm just squeezing that out, and then I'm just going to inflate the latex. And obviously by inflating the latex, inflates.
That's very satisfying to watch.
But you can just see the colour.
Oh, that's lovely.
So it is still a hint of purple.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's more lavenderish, isn't it?
You're taking on the balloon inside.
Yeah.
So it just gives you that huge colour palette of globes now.
Yeah.
We're not restricted to just having the clear ones with what we're doing. We can make a globe in any shade that we like. And again, just sealing like a double bubble, so using that neck to wrap around the outside of the plastic.
Perfect.
And sealing.
Simple.
And still your liftability. Now with that, I will chop off the neck, because you have got the excess weight on that. And that is kind of my little top tips on globes. But their float time is excellent, liftability excellent. You can vinyl them. They're just a beautiful, beautiful bubble.
You can't find the end of the ribbon, can you?
I can't. You've tied it away so well.
I didn't touch it.
There, it's there. It is there. We found it.
No, really good techniques. I love those. I love the bubble inside, sealing it. Never seen that before. Genius, I would say that is.
As you say, nothing is rocket science, and nothing hasn't been done before by other people.
Yeah.
It's just what you use to make things work for your business.
Yeah.
And I say for us, all those years ago, when bubble balloons first came out, that was the method that we always used, because we could guarantee it for our customers.
Yeah.
So I just pass that on as an alternative. You don't have to. If 260 wrapping works, great.
How did you just do that without your scissors?
Just my nails.
All right, wow. Another tip as well.
Although I can't do the little
tidy that away now.
Yeah, tidy that way. Although I do need those just to do my little
You've got to do it, yeah. There you go.
final bit.
Do a little thing.
Yeah.
That is wonderful.
So we have a purple that obviously looks completely different, like a lilac, lilac lavender globe.
Paula, that is fantastic. Thank you so much for showing us those.
That's
I am my favourite technique, that one. Absolutely that one. Now, as a guest on BMTV, you get to ask everybody out there the question of the week.
Okay.
And I prepared you for it, or Alex prepared you for it. So, what is your question of the week? What would you like to ask everybody?
Okay, my question of the week, do I ask you or do I ask the camera?
You can ask the camera.
Okay, and it's that main camera?
That main camera right
now. Okay, so my question of the week is, I absolutely adore the Grabo balloons. I love the new natural shades that we've got here, your creams, your caramels, your olives. At the moment, they've only brought them out, obviously, in the big 40-inch numbers and the hearts and the rounds. What other balloons are you wanting them to bring these beautiful colours out in? Are you wanting them in the globes? Are you wanting them in the stars? Are you wanting them in the 26-inch letter numbers? Are you wanting them in letters? Are you wanting them in 14-inch? We've got so much choice. What do you want the next thing to be in these natural balloons?
Bit of market research there.
Yeah.
What balloons do you want to be made in these muted tones? There you go. Just took it into a few words.
You did, well done.
I'm quite pleased with that.
I always talk too much.
Yeah. Paula, it's been absolutely lovely having you here.
Lovely
thank you so much. And thank you, everybody out there, for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, please do hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon as well, and be notified every time we upload a new show. And check us out on Instagram as well. Stay happy, stay positive, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. Bye. You can wave.
Go.